familiar, discusiones de pareja, la última peli de Star Wars, la tortilla francesa de anoche, el pelado que te han hecho, el nombre de tu perro, ¿por qué te vas a otra ciudad? Todo sería mejor si pudiera decir lo que siento sin miedo. Todo sería mejor si pudieras decir lo que sientes sin miedo. Carcasa de tu iPhone, ese cuadro en la pared, la camisa que llevas puesta, cuánto te quiero en realidad, opiniones malcriadas, otro bulo que estalló, comentarios del presidente, condición sexual. Todo sería mejor si pudiera decir lo que pienso sin miedo. Todo sería mejor si pudieras decir lo que piensas sin miedo. No soy capaz de imaginar cómo explotaría el mundo si solo contamos la verdad. No soy capaz de imaginar cómo explotará mi cerebro si solo me cuentan la verdad. Todo sería mejor si pudiera decir lo que siento sin miedo. Todo sería mejor si pudieras decir lo que sientes sin miedo. Sin miedo. Sin miedo.
I think your show is it's like a tangential fuck.
These four rooms, bright and iron and withered fumes, far below these sinful means.
Hey guys, welcome to the Dave Darin Show. Here I am, and today we're going to be talking about, we're not going to be talking about my shirt, but this is what we're going to talk, we're going to be talking about me taking the shirt off my back to support a bunch of lame people who are complaining about what I say to people. I've had some people that say, Dave, you are a shock jock, and that's why you're bringing up these topics like you do. You know what? If I was a shock jock, I'd probably have a bunch of people watching my show. The fact that I talk about what I talk about is not because I'm a shock jock. It's because I really feel what I say has a lot of relevance to the 0 people that are watching right now, it seems like there's, this show is completely irrelevant. This show to me is me giving out my opinion to 0 people or 1 person or 2 people. That's what this show is. This show is me giving my opinion to myself, all right? Doesn't have to be anyone listening. It doesn't matter to me who listens, who doesn't listen. This is me, all right? Screw it. I don't really care who listens to me. This is the topic. Let me get things straight. Let me get this straight. You damaged your health, yet I must stay at home, stop working, financially suffer. Now that's the thing I've been talking about a lot lately. So I don't feel like going back into the whole thing about why I think we should not have shut down the country. But I will get into a bunch of people who actually, some of them came from my high school because I became a member of my high school's website or high school's Facebook group, right? So I became a member of that. Now I got everyone from that high school critiquing me, and they're all upset with me. Of course, that's because mostly I got involved with one person whose brother happened to die not that long ago, who actually graduated the same year I did from the high school I graduated. And all of his buddies, of course, they're all ganging up on me because they don't like my interpretation of this whole COVID-19. Specifically, they don't like the fact that I am talking now about the pre-existing condition people. So today we're going to isolate it to pre-existing condition people and COVID-19. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit, just a little bit, to give you these statistics. First of all, the statistics of, I had this written down so nicely. What the fuck did I do with it? How come I had this written down and now it's gone? See, I think that how come I had this written down? Damn it. All right, well, let me give you this. Okay, I do have it written down. Here we go. The U.S. population, the total U.S. population is 328 million people. 328 million people live in the United States. As of today, I just looked it up, 99,300 people have died of COVID-19. 99,300 out of 328 million. That equals 0.031% of the population in the United States have died of COVID-19. That means that how come I keep saying 99,000? What the fuck is wrong with me today? Let me take a drink here. A V8, by the way. Out of 328 million people living in the United States, 99,300 people have died of COVID-19. That equals 0.031% of the U.S. population has died of COVID-19. It's a very small number. I'll repeat it again. That's a decimal point, 0.031%, which is less than 1%. It's less than 0.1%. It's 0.031% of the population, which means 99.969% of the U.S. population is still alive, all right? So whether you can, and then I get people saying 100,000 people, isn't that number significant enough for you, Dave? Isn't that number significant enough? Isn't 10,000 a significant enough number for you, Dave? Isn't one person significant a number for you, Dave? Let me get back to the world population now. The total world consists of 8 billion people live on planet Earth. 8 billion morons live on planet Earth for the most part. 8 billion people live on planet Earth. 346,434 have died of COVID-19. That is a little bit higher than the U.S. population percentage-wise. That means that 0.04, it's still less than 1%. It's still less than 0.1%. 0.043% of the world's population have died of COVID-19. That is 99.957 of the world's population is still what? They're still fucking breathing. They're still alive, all right? They're still surviving, all right? So now I get these people say, Dave, these people, a lot of them had pre-existing conditions, all right? So you're taking these people with pre-existing conditions and just disenfranchising them. Say, you know what, you've got something wrong with you. You know what, this is what people say Dave is saying. You know what, you got something wrong with you. Then you know what, you're going to die because you got something wrong with you. So, let me say this. Out of the 100,000 people in the United States, I rounded it off to 100,000 people, 73% of those 100,000 people, which is 73,000 people, did have pre-existing conditions. 73% of the 100,000 that died had pre-existing conditions. It's an easy mathematic computation for all you brain dead people who can't figure it out. 73,000 people had a pre-existing condition. 27,000 people did not. So people are telling me, Dave, there's people out there that did not have a pre-existing condition and they died of COVID-19. Dave, how about those people? Dave, how about those people? 27,000 people out of the 100,000 people did not have a pre-existing condition. People are saying, well, Dave, how do you account for those people? That percentage of those people, if you take 27,000 people that did not have pre-existing conditions and died of COVID-19, out of the total U.S. population of, 328 million, that is 0.01% of the U.S. population that did not have pre-existing conditions died of COVID-19. 0.01%. That's not 1%. It's not 1/10%. It is 0.01%. You know what that means? If you take that, that means 99.999% of the population in the United States that did not have pre-existing conditions survived. So how about we talk about that shit for a change, all right? Then people are telling me, Dave, all the people with pre-existing conditions, you don't care about them? You know what? Let me say this. Let me say this. You see this? I've got a beer over here. I've got a beer. It's a crazy beer. It says coffee Kolesh beer. I have no idea what this is going to taste like. Yeah, I guess it's a coffee flavored beer. I happen to like coffee. I happen to like beer. I've had, if you remember, what was it called? Kona Cola. Remember that Kona Cola? Actually, Tom Jones used to sing a song. Tom Jones, a singer, was singing a song, a commercial for Kona Cola. That was coffee flavored Coca-Cola. And I tried it. I don't drink Coke. I don't drink Pepsi. I don't drink soda because it's not healthy. I'll tell you, it ain't healthy. So, you know, that's what we're talking about. Pre-existing conditions are people that aren't healthy. So, you know what? I raised up this beer. You know why? Because my fitness program is extreme. I ain't going to drink this. I ain't going to drink it. I never use that word ain't, but I'm using it for you basic people who complain about me all the fucking time. I ain't drinking this until I triple up on my workout routine. Since COVID came into being, to keep myself extra healthy, I've been doubling up on my exercise. I usually work out about an hour and a half every day, and I skip one day a week. I skip usually Sundays, and I probably am going to skip today. I got a phone call here, but I'm not going to answer it yet. Let me get through my monologue, all right, before I start answering phone calls. Let me get through my monologue, and then I will answer your phone calls for anyone that wants to challenge me on this, all right? I work out an hour and a half. Now I've doubled it up during COVID-19 to stay extra healthy, become more fit, become more able to defend myself against this horrible virus, which in my opinion is an overblown exaggeration. But I've worked out double. So instead of an hour and a half, I'm working out 3 hours a day. Can you believe that? Can you believe that someone would actually work out on weights and fitness equipment and the, aerobic equipment 3 hours a day, 6 days a week? Can you believe that? Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not drinking this beer until I triple that. So I'm not drinking this beer until I put in a 4.5 hour exercise day. And that's the extreme I'm going here, guys. That's the extreme that I put myself through to stay healthy. So my point is, and everyone hates this because everyone does not like when you target their pressure point. When you target something that they ain't doing and they don't want to take responsibility for something that they're not doing. Like I told you, my fitness routine is extreme. It's hostile. It's brutal. It's like a Rocky Balboa from Philadelphia, which is where I happen to be from. It's like that kind of regimen. It's that kind of sickness I'm involved in keeping myself healthy. These people with this pre-existing conditions, of which 73% of the people in the United States that died had a pre-existing condition. Most of them, by the way, had pre-existing conditions. Why? Some of them genetic. The overwhelming small percent of them have pre-existing conditions because of genetics. Most of them have pre-existing conditions. Why? Because of the shit that they ate. Am I feeding your asses? Am I delivering food to your house? It's got sugar. It's got salt in it. It's got fats. It's got trans fats. It's got grease in it. Am I coming to your house and dropping that shit off for you to blame me? But you're blaming me because you're telling me, Dave, these people with pre-existing conditions, what, you don't care about them? You know what? When someone busts their ass to do something and take personal responsibility for what they are doing to remain healthy and be healthy, and then you guys who just eat pretzels, you eat potato chips, You drink soda, you eat all this kind of crap shit that you don't even bother to look at a label to see what's on it. You put that in your body and you weaken your immune system. You have a pre-existing condition because you weigh 600 pounds. As a show, My 600-Pound Life. It's on TV. Watch it. It's Dr. Now is the guy that puts you under the knife to cut you up and give you what do they call that? A gastric bypass so that you don't eat. And then you see people coming in there still friggin' eating. And then the doctor's got it because it's a reality show. It's probably full of a lot of bullshit as well as reality. Probably a mix of 50-50. You get the people on there, 600 pounds. How did they become 600 pounds? You know, if it was something that was their thyroid, the show would not be with Dr. Now on it. It would be a different show where they're sending you to a doctor for thyroid treatment, for all that stuff. These are people on that 600-pound show that are 600 pounds because they say to their audience that they are eating because of stress. They're eating because food is their friend. It is their thing that they use to get stress out of their lives. So they're 600 pounds. So they have neglected their body. They have mistreated their body. They have damaged their body. And what? A guy like me is supposed to not go to work? A guy like me is supposed to stay in my house and self-quarantine and stay away from other people and wear a friggin' mask because you guys did not take care of yourselves and you neglected your body. So the whole world around you is supposed to shut down the 99.969 people that are healthy in the United States with the 0.031% that have died. The 99.969% of the people are supposed to stay quarantined in their home, isolated from everyone else with masks on in department stores. Why? To keep your unhealthy asses healthy because you neglected yourselves. You know what? I'm sick and tired of people having the excuse that you know, I lived in Japan for a while. For 4 years I lived in Japan. When I came back to the United States, I was looking at the food. I was eating the food and I thought, this food tastes like shit. It's got too much sugar in it. It's got too much grease in it. You see people going to McDonald's as soon as it opened up. Oh my God, thank God McDonald's is back open. Of course, I think the drive-thru was always open. Now that you can go in there and order, oh my God, thank God McDonald's is open. Oh, thank God they got a sandwich now. There was I think it was, what was it, Wendy's or Burger King now, that has a burger that's 1,400 calories. You're only supposed to eat less than 2,000 calories. One sandwich, 1,400 calories. Probably just a line to buy that friggin' sandwich and stick it in your body and get heart condition, get all kinds of things wrong with you. And then when you got things wrong with you and you got a pre-existing condition, you know what we're supposed to do? The people that are healthy are supposed to lock ourselves away so that your unhealthy ass who took no responsibility for your own health, your own level of fitness, we protect you by taking the healthy people and locking them away so that you don't suffer the consequences of what you put your body through. You know, that's basically what this is. You know, the whole world basically now is human beings that do not take responsibility for themselves. They don't take responsibility they complain about the crap job that they've got. Did they bother to get a better education? Did they bother to figure shit out so that they could improve their life instead of just staying at that horrible job that they got paying minimum wage? They just want the minimum wage to go up higher and higher so that they can make a better wage. But they don't want to make their lives better and their wage better by actually getting a decent type of education, whether it's even a trade. It doesn't have to be college. Just learn how to do some shit that's more valuable than friggin' making a hamburger that's 1,400 calories. Why don't you do that? My God, people are so friggin' stupid and irresponsible, and that's what I talk about, and that's what people don't like. Even the same people that went to my high school, which was a college preparatory high school to get you to the best colleges in the United States. That's why people went to that high school I went to. And then the people in that high school, they're all complaining to me like, how dare you disenfranchise people that got pre-existing conditions? And then they start picking on me and they say, Dave, how about the people that didn't have any pre-existing conditions? How do you account for those guys? They died of COVID-19. They didn't have any pre-existing conditions. How do you account for them, Dave? How do you account for them? Those are a minority. I just gave out the statistics. I just said out of the 100,000 people that have died in the United States of COVID-19, 73% of them had pre-existing conditions. You want me to count for the 27,000 or the 27% of the people that did not have pre-existing conditions Dave, how do you account for them? I account for them as an anomaly. You know, when you build statistic curves, you got the curve that accounts for the majority of the statistics, and they're all around that curve. They're all close to that curve, right? Then you get the anomalies that are outside of the curve, one way or the other. So you get these anomaly of people, these 27% of the population, of the 100,000 people, which accounts for 0.0. We've got a phone call now. I'll take a phone call. Dave Darin on the Dave Darin Show. Who's calling in? Yes, you got.
Hey, yo, Dave, this is Bob.
All right, Bob. First of all, shut me off so I don't hear an echo of my voice in the background. Will you do that or you won't do it? Because if you don't do it, I'm going to hang up on you. All right, I'll tell you what. Call back when you have the intelligence. I'm talking about intelligent people. And I got a guy here who's calling me out with my voice in the background so I can't hear what the fuck he's saying, all right? So there goes a lame-brained idiot who probably wants to argue these statistics with me or wants to be a heckler of the show. And he doesn't have the common sense that as soon as I answer the phone, he should be near the knob of his... he's calling back, all right? It's Dave Darin on the Dave Darin Show. Did you have the intelligence to lower the background? No, he's still, no, fuck it. I'm not answering his phone call anymore. Screw him, all right? If you don't, you call back a second time and you got my voice in the background, you know what? I happen to like my voice. I don't want to hear it on my own fucking program, all right? So shut off the background when you call into the show. Otherwise, I hang up on you like I hung up on this guy now twice. Call back again so I hang up on you 3 times. I call you an idiot 3 times, all right? How about we do that? So we got a guy calling up, probably doesn't like my statistics, does not like the fact that I call people out on statistics, all right? You know, you got to say, too, these people with the pre-existing conditions, the people with the pre-existing conditions that got COVID-19, and they died of the pre-existing condition, all right? Because the people that did not have a pre-existing condition, the overwhelming percent of those people survived, all right? So the pre-existing condition that you had, if you got the flu, or if you got pneumonia, or you got a bad cold, or you got strep throat, or you have asthma, you probably would have died also, right? But the fact that you had COVID-19, oh my God, now we got to say it's just COVID-19. Screw that. It's other stuff too. It's your lack of proper behavior and health attitude and fitness level has put you in that pre-existing condition, with the exception of 27% of you who did not have a pre-existing condition that fall outside the statistical curve, which accounts for 0.01% of the U.S. population, which means 99.999% of the U.S. population has survived. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? You know what? Let me talk some more here, all right? Let me get my conscience out. Let me get people that are pissed off at me more and more pissed off at me, because I don't do this show to build friendships. I don't do this show to build enemies, but I build enemies because people don't like reality. Because the reality they see on TV is bullshit reality. All the Kardashian bullshit. All of the stuff you see in Desperate Housewives. They're all desperate for recognition doing a bullshit program. That's what they're desperate for. They're desperate for recognition for putting bullshit out there. I'm one of the few people that comes on here and gives you the raw reality. People don't like that. They like the bullshit reality that they see on TV. They hear real reality and you know, oh, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I want the fake bullshit reality, Dave. I don't want the real in-your-face reality. I don't want to be reminded that the people with pre-existing conditions have those pre-existing conditions. The overwhelming amount of them have pre-existing conditions, not because of genetics, but because of the shit they put in their mouths that goes through their digestive system, gets inside their intestines, blocks their intestines, screws up. If you drink too much beer, you screw up your fucking liver. So you don't drink this every single day to build up your big belly, to become fat so you can't move, so your legs swell up. And then you can't get out of the seat. And then you're on the internet watching all the social media liberal bullshit that makes you think, oh my God, it's not because of me. It's not because I drank the beer and ate potato chips. It's because of just freaking nature. Oh my God, I almost knocked down. Did I knock down the... I start moving my hands like the typical Italian. Hang on. Make sure I didn't unplug something. I'm still live on the air because I thought I unplugged the Wi-Fi. Because when I do this show, I don't use the Wi-Fi. I use the direct LAN. I plug in so I get the better signal. So it looks like I'm still on the air. I'm going to backtrack again. I'm going to backtrack and give you the statistics that people don't want in their faces. All they want to see is the 100,000 people in the United States that died. And they want it, you know what they want? They want the figure calculated differently than I calculated. They want to calculate the 100,000 people that died calculated versus they want a statistic and a percentage of the 100,000 of people that died with the people that contracted the virus. That's what they want. But you have to realize that the entire U.S. population, most of them have not been tested. Why? I haven't been tested. You know why? I feel pretty fucking good. And you're told not to get a test if you feel good enough, where you don't want to clog up the testing resources. So if you don't feel sick, or you feel marginally sick, but you don't feel like you're going to fucking die, then you don't get the test, and you're told that. You're told not to take the test if you don't need the test. So the overwhelming majority of the 328 million people that live in the United States, the overwhelming percent of them have not taken the test to validate that they got the coronavirus or didn't get it. And if they are asymptomatic, or some of them have obviously had symptoms, but not critical enough to even worry about getting a test, or maybe they took a test, but they're not hospitalized, and maybe they did go and they got hospitalized, but they're not on ventilators, they're not in critical condition, they didn't die from it. So the real statistic, despite the fact that people don't like the way I take the statistic, which is the amount of people that got the virus versus the total U.S. population, they want the percentage, of course, to be higher. They want it to be 5, 6, 7% by taking the amount of people that died of COVID-19. They don't want to discuss the fact that 73% of them had pre-existing conditions. They don't want that number out there at all. They just want the 100,000 people that died. They don't want any rhyme or reason as how they died. Pre-existing condition, immunity deficiency. They don't want that. They just want the 100,000. That's all. Everything else, forget it. Fuck it. They don't want that at all. They just want in my head. They want in my head 100,000 people that died versus the amount of people that contracted the virus. You know what? As soon as you add in, suppose the whole country got tested. Suppose the whole country got tested. Like I said, 99.969% of the U.S. population is still here. 0.031% of the people died of COVID-19. I'll repeat that again. That's a decimal. Decimal 0.031%, which is less than 1% because the decimal's here. You got the 1 and you got a decimal. It's less than 0.1% because 0.1 is more than 0.01. It's 0.31% of the population has died of COVID-19. 99.969% have survived. They're alive. They're listening to me right now. Yeah, how many people listen to me? According to YouTube, which I think is fucking up lately because it says 0 people are watching my show right now. It says 0. So I think YouTube, when they look around at people doing stuff on YouTube, they want to disenfranchise people like me who talk about stuff that they don't want out there. They'll either block it, or they'll make it insignificant, or they'll make the reach less because they don't want this out there at all. They just want the liberal agenda out there. They want the figure of 100,000 people that died. They don't want to know how they died. Pre-existing condition, they don't want that. They just want the 100,000 out there versus the amount of people that contracted COVID-19. And they want that percentage out there. They don't want the percentage of the entire U.S. population, which most of them haven't been tested. And why haven't they been tested? They didn't need to be tested. They're feeling good. They're feeling great. Or they're feeling a little bit sick, but not enough to worry about it. They're still going about their ways. They just want the percentage out there to be slanted in their direction. They don't want 328 million people in the United States with 99,300 people that have died of COVID-19, meaning 0.031% of the people in the United States have died of COVID-19. And then they don't want to take the 100,000 people that died and say 73,000 of those people had a pre-existing condition. Why? And they don't want to analyze how they got a pre-existing condition. How did they get a pre-existing condition? The overwhelming percent of those have pre-existing conditions because they were neglecting their health. They ate potato chips. They drank beer whenever they friggin' felt like it. This is one of the rare times I get beer in my refrigerator because I intend to triple my workout. Triple, not double, triple my workout. If I have a day where I haven't tripled my workout, this thing stays in the refrigerator. I don't drink it. If I have a day that I tripled my workout, and the reason I got this is going to be 111 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona on, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 3 days in a row, 111 degrees. 111 degrees. So I'm going to be tripling my workout, which means I'm going to be sweating more than this can of beer could hold. I'm going to be sweating my ass off. And as soon as I triple my workout, which means 4.5 hours, 4.5 hours of workout on either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I'm going to reward myself with this crazy beer, which is called coffee. It's called coffee beer. It may taste like crap. Who knows? Although it's going to be nice and cold. I'm going to be 4.5 hours after working out. I'm going to reward myself with a beer. And my gut's not going to swell up because I burn up too many calories. And all I'm doing is I'm just putting some calories back in my body that are usually never there. I don't have beer in my refrigerator ever. I have beer in my refrigerator about 3 weeks out of 52 weeks in a year. So for you guys who don't know how to do mathematics, because obviously you don't know how to calculate percentages, let me tell you, there's 52 weeks in a year, all right? 52 weeks in a year. 3 weeks out of the year, I have beer in my refrigerator. That's all. I've got wine in there because my wife puts wine in some of our cooking. And I don't even drink wine. People say wine's good for you. I don't even drink wine. I don't really like the taste of wine. I don't like white wine at all. If I drink red wine, I can tolerate it. White wine should not be served cold. It doesn't taste right cold. It does not taste correct cold. Wine seems to be like it's got to be room temperature. Now, I wouldn't go outside and serve it in 111 degrees and make the room temperature of the wine 111 degrees. I mean, room temperature is 78 degrees, whatever room temperature you happen to keep your house at is room temperature, which is the best taste for a red wine, all right? So again, I'm going to go back to this. If anyone wants to call, you can call now, 480-236-2111, 480-236-2111, and most people won't like me, so don't like me. Call me up and argue with me. Call me up if you're a heckler so I can heckle you back, because I'm really good at that. I said this topic is about what my high school people that went to my same high school, because I happen to go on their Facebook group page, and they're angry at me and hostile at me because I dare to take the people with pre-existing conditions and say, you know what? I don't care about you. I did not say that, but what I did say is that out of the 100,000 people that died of COVID-19 in the United States, by the way, 73,000 of you had pre-existing conditions. The majority of those 73,000 had pre-existing conditions not because of genetics, but because of what they stuck in their mouths, all right? The crap they put in their mouth to clog up their intestines, to give them gastric problems, to give them a colon problem, so that when the shit comes out, it's not cleaning the body, the shit is not purifying the crap that you put in your body, because it can't keep up with the crap that you put in your body. Most of the stuff you're putting in your body with potato chips, pretzels, with the salt, soda, beer, all the crap that you put in your body, it stays in your body as crap because it can't get out of your body because there's too much of it. It's like a funnel. You put too much shit in a funnel. The funnel is like this. You put too much shit in it. The stuff at the bottom cannot come out because it's clogged up in the top. And you're putting this shit in your body and you're telling me, Dave, you're telling me, oh my God, I've got a pre-existing condition. Dave should care about me. You know what? Did you care about yourselves? All these years of your neglect, what do I have to do? Do I have to babysit your asses, make sure that do I have to put up a website so that everyone that follows my show and listens to my show can send me their daily grocery shop list, and I can look at it and I can read the ingredients for you and tell you, Pat, John, Jill, whoever listens to the show, I'll read the ingredients and say, you know what, you better not drink this, you better not eat this. Did you see this ingredient? Don't eat that ingredient. What, I have to babysit your asses? Can't you read? Didn't you go to high school? Didn't you go to elementary school to learn basic reading? And high school to learn reading? Didn't you do any of that? Why? I have to go back and teach you how to read a label so that you don't? Or do I have to teach you when you read the label and you write down the word that's on the label? And you go to your computer now, it's easy. You go and you Google it. You figure out if this shit's good for you. You Google it, you find out this shit's not good for me. It's going to cause heart problems. It's going to cause liver problems. It's going to cause me to potentially have a stroke. You know what? I'm not going to buy that. But yet you'll still buy it. And you won't have any consideration of your own for what you put into your body that shouldn't be in your body. You'll put it in your body. You'll develop a pre-existing condition. And then you'll tell the rest of the world that you've got a pre-existing condition, that the rest of the healthy people then have to stay at home. They got to lose their jobs because they have to stay at home if they have a job where they can't work at home. So they lost their job. They've lost their ability to support their family. They lost their ability to have a financial foundation so that when they get older, they've got a built-up foundation of finances so they can survive without relying on social programs to carry them through the rest of the way. And so you guys that have all these pre-existing conditions because of eating potato chips, drinking beer, putting sugar, salt in your body, you know what? You're telling us, the healthy people, that you know what? You didn't take responsibility, but I got to be responsible for your stupidity. I've got to be responsible for your lack of self-control, your lack of consideration. The whole world around you has to shut their ass down, has to stay at home, has to lose their jobs, lose their financial security. Not only them, but their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren have to stay at home isolated so they stay away from your asses who didn't take care of themselves. We have to take care of your asses after the fact of you neglecting your asses. That's what we got to do. We got to wreck our lives to protect you guys when you guys didn't lift a finger to protect yourselves. That's what this is all about. It's about self-responsibility. I got sun shining in. It's shining on my nose. I look like I got look at that. Looks like a disco light, doesn't it? Is that better? Should be better. There we go. That's much better. Now I look a lot more healthy, right? Which is what we're talking about. Talking about how to stay healthy instead of saying how to stay sick, so that you can be sick and other people around you can isolate themselves away from you and wear masks. Now we got to wear masks. I went out today to a casino. There's a casino that opened up in Arizona. I went to the casino to look around. 70% of the people in this casino in Arizona called, what was it called? Gila River? Or I don't go enough. I don't go at all. I just happen to go there to experiment. 70% of the people did not wear masks, which is what I thought that was shocking. Yet, and too bad I didn't take, I took a picture of someone on my cell phone. I forgot to download it before tonight's program. So a person in there, a guy, he had to be 70, although he was probably 50. He looked all fucked up because of his lack of taking care of himself. And so he's sitting there in a wheelchair, right? He's in a wheelchair, rolled up to a slot machine. And you know what he's doing? He looks like he's decrepit. He looks like he's got about 50 pre-existing conditions, and he's smoking a cigarette. One of the pre-existing conditions that gets you sick and unhealthy and potentially going to die of COVID-19 is smoking a cigarette. Lung cancer, because what COVID-19 attacks the lungs, right? And you got these boneheads who are smoking. He didn't have a mask on, by the way. He didn't have a mask on, by the way. Even when he wasn't smoking, he didn't have a mask on at all. So he's there, 70 years old, probably 50, looked like fucking 70 because of his health and his condition. He's there in a wheelchair, so he can't walk, he can't maneuver. He's without a mask, and he's smoking. And he's in a casino with a bunch of people around him. There were a lot of people in the casino. All they did was separate. If there was a slot machine, they either put a separation between the slot machine, next slot machine is a piece of plastic between them, or if they had an area where they would shut down one slot machine in the middle. So you had open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. But there were enough people in there to expose him, his stupid ass, his idiotic behavior that has obviously a pre-existing condition, because he looks like he's gonna if he wins a jackpot, he's gonna fucking die right there, because the stress of him winning is going to give him a heart attack because he's got a pre-existing condition, and he's in the casino taking a total lack of responsibility. Yet, what are we supposed to do? Well, this is what we're supposed to do according to everyone else, according to people that argue with me. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to let his ass in there on a wheelchair, no mask, smoking. We're supposed to let him in there. Everyone else is not supposed to go in that casino. Of course, we got to protect his ass. We got to let him in there. And his wife, who was smoking, who wasn't on a wheelchair, she didn't have a mask on. She looked as decrepit as he did. Then you got the two people in there. They're supposed to be in there. And everyone else, it's almost like you got to yell fire. So everyone else scatters and leaves. So if these two idiots taking no responsibility for their individual health are protected, because all of the healthy people are supposed to stay away from them. So if they can gamble and play the slot machine while smoking, while in their wheelchair, those people with pre-existing conditions have pre-existing conditions for a reason, because of his lack of care about his health, his lack of individual responsibility, his lack of taking care of himself. He expects everyone else to take care of him when he has to take care of himself. Phone call on the Dave Darin Show. Here we go. Dave Darin on the Dave Darin Show. Who's calling in, please?
Hey, how are ya?
I don't know. I'm not doing too good. No one likes me, which is okay with me. That's fine with me. Do you like me?
I think you're comical. I just called to tell you I have pre-existing conditions.
All right.
I've had juvenile diabetes since I was 8, and then when I was 40, I got heart disease from my diabetes, and I had a quad bypass. However, those are pre-existing conditions, but I still work, and I work in healthcare, and I've had 3 people so far with COVID-19, but I'm like you, I have to go out, and I don't like to wear a mask, but I have to. In my work, I definitely have to.
Uh-huh.
I have no choice but to wear a mask, gloves, and a gown. But when I'm out shopping or something, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have a mask on. But if you want to go into a store where I live, you have to have a mask on or you don't get in or whatever. But I don't, I work. I mean, I agree with what you say. I know most of them are probably have pre-existing to die. I understand that, but I'm fine. I have nothing wrong with me, besides my, my pre-existing, but I don't have COVID-19, and if I die, I'm going to take one hell of a guess it'll be from a heart attack or something. It's not going to be from that disease.
Okay.
And secondly, and where I work, there are a lot of other diseases that I have to wear masks for on a basis, that I have to do all the time. So to me, it's the same. If somebody comes in there with MRSA or something, I have to wear a gown and gloves and mask. This is the same thing.
Right. Okay.
And when I go shopping or something, I'm not up on anybody, kissing them around. I go and get what I have to get, and I get out. I'm not, I'm not psyched like everybody else. Everybody just seems crazy about it, and I go about my normal life. It's just, I think they blew it out of proportion.
Yeah, I do too. I think they blew it out of proportion, yet people don't admit that it's blown out of proportion, and I'm not exactly sure why, although I can guess that they're following the media to a T who all says that it is out of proportion, realistically out of proportion, but they don't say that. They just say it's bad. So it's interesting that now you've got pre-existing conditions which are pretty much genetic, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so now you've got a pre-existing condition, but do you believe that the majority of people that have pre-existing conditions, let me ask again, do you, in your mind, in your evaluation, in your thought process, do you believe that most people with pre-existing conditions have them because they've developed them because of pure health, pure bad food choices? Do you think that most of them develop pre-existing conditions because of their own reasons?
Yeah, they
Okay.
do. I think they do. That, like juvenile diabetes, there's not technically, like if you work with numbers like you work, there's not a lot of people in the United States that have type 1 juvenile diabetes. Most of it's type 2, and that's from overeating a lot of times, like being unhealthy, eating things you're not supposed to, overweight. That brings on type 2 diabetes. But a lot of people bring on heart disease, they eat too much grease, this, that. Most of it is because of their habits. But there are a couple, like myself. My diabetes I didn't ask for. I was only 8, or that was hereditary, as a matter of fact. But, and with that came the heart disease, and I had nothing to do with that. That had to do with my diabetes. But most people, yeah, I agree with you. It's their lifestyle, Not a lot of people are very healthy in the United States.
Yeah, now why is that? Do they have to leave the United States like I did and go to Japan and see how much better the Japanese people eat? Although they're eating worse now, believe it or not, and I know that because I visited there. Now they have fast burger places. They got something called Most Burgers. They got McDonald's in Japan. So their health habits are getting worse because they become more westernized, and the amount of people from Western society have infected them with quick eating, fast food service, and that's too bad. But when I came back from Japan and came to the United States, even if I attempted to eat a pastry or something with sugar in it, I almost couldn't eat it. It tasted like crap to me. It tasted horrible. I wanted to continue to eat the good food, and to be honest with you, it's hard to eat good food in the United States. It really is hard to eat good food. It's a challenge, but does that mean that we disrespect our bodies and we don't accept the challenge and we just say, oh, well, it's out there. I'm going to eat it because it's convenient to get it. Or should we try to focus more on being healthy because we want to live longer lives? We want to live, not necessarily we want to live longer lives. The amount of time that we're living, we want to be more healthy. Why are people so friggin' lazy in the United States? I walk around, I see most people in the United States are not fit to any degree, let alone at the level of fitness I've got. Forget about me. Most people are not at all fit in the United States. Why is that? Why? Laziness?
They just don't realize it. That's just, they're accustomed to that until something happens. Till they have the heart attack. Then they'll say, oh my God, this is why, because I did this, this, and this. Or something, or that's just the way it is. You don't realize you're like that until something bad happens, and then it's kind of too late, or you have to change your lifestyle.
And I like
until it actually happens to them, something bad, or they're going to continue to do it.
And I wrote down the words you just said, until something happens. Now, until something happens, until people have contacted coronavirus and people have died of coronavirus, when something happens, what do they expect from the people that have remained healthy and busted their asses to stay healthy and stay out of pre-existing conditions, taking the ones that are not genetic like yours, the ones that have developed pre-existing conditions because of bad habits? So when that something happens to them, something has to happen to everyone else. We've got to stop working. We've got to self-isolate. We've got to wear masks. We've got to lose our jobs because everyone wants us to shut down. We've got to dramatically damage 99% of the U.S. population, 99% of the world's population, that's to say sheltered, to protect people that took no responsibility for themselves at all. That's what basically that is. And people don't like me for saying that, but that's what it is. We've taken a situation, we have taken the people that are sick because they chose to be sick for the most part, due to neglect, due to saying that, oh, I had no idea that eating pretzels and potato chips and all this fat food, that you can see it in my gut. I had no idea that this gut in my stomach was going to cause me a pre-existing condition, damage my heart. How could you be so friggin' stupid and not realize that? But then you want the whole world to shut down around you because of your stupidity. And if anyone like me says anything at all, I get all the anger sent at me like, oh my God, how can you attack these people with pre-existing conditions? How could you possibly do that, Dave? You don't care about the 100,000 people that died? That's what I get. That's what I get.
I just think it's a person's body. It's how they fight things off, even if you have a pre-existing. I do. I don't have COVID-19. I feel fine. I feel like I always do. But there are people, you hear stories that the husband has it and the wife doesn't. Well, it's just how your body fights, and they didn't catch it off. If the husband had it and the wife didn't, she didn't catch it off of it. I mean, they're living together. I mean, you hear stuff like that, and I just think how you fight, how your body fights or whatever. I mean, it's probably harder with pre-existing. I understand that, and I understand that, people in the United States should take care of themselves. But I just think it's like the flu. It's like the flu or whatever else. If you can, I've never had the flu. I get a flu shot in the last few years, but prior to that, I never got one. Never got the flu. Didn't get the flu when I got the shot. It's just how I fight. It depends on each person. And when something like this happens, yeah, you should be taking care of yourself. I agree. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not against you, but that's just the way people are. That's just how it is in the United States.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. It's interesting that you've got pre-existing conditions and you take the flu shot. Now, from what I understand, now I'm not a doctor. I just understand what I read, and I've got a limited amount of time to read, and I wish I could read more to do a better radio program. But supposedly, when you take the flu shot, they are giving you, I guess, inactive dead flu virus within your body or whatever it is. They're injecting you with the flu so that you can build up antibodies for that particular flu. But because some people get a flu shot and then they say they get the flu or they suffer dramatically. So now you've got a pre-existing condition, yet you have taken the flu shot. Did you find that dangerous? Were you questioning that were you questioning the fact that you did it? Did you stop doing it because of any new thoughts in your mind? You took the flu shot. Would you do it again? Are you still doing it? Did you stop? Were you scared when you did it?
Well, I can get a flu shot free at work. I mean, they really want you to get them. But my doctor, when I switched new doctors, she was like, "Come on, you really need a flu shot." Blah 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 blah. And for some reason or another, I said, "Okay, go ahead." And I was okay. Like I said, I don't catch it. I'm not a, I don't. My body fights quite well for the situation I'm in. But I probably will. Probably this year coming along, they're going to come and say, "Bernadette, it's time for your flu shot," and they're going to give it to me. And I could always say no. I don't know. Really don't know, Dave. My doctor wanted me to get it, so I got it. Considering I'm a diabetic and I have heart disease,
Mm-hmm. Do you think?
But I have friends that work in healthcare, and they refuse to get a flu shot, and they won't get one. And I was like that for all my life till a couple of years ago, and I switched and said, "Okay, I'll take a flu shot."
Yeah. Do you think any of this has been a conspiracy theory? In other words, we are locked in our homes, and we are bombarded with news programs that we watch, which put the fear of God into us because we're watching programs and everyone's scared, everyone's got masks on, and the pandemic is a significant risk to Americans and the world. So they're scaring the living daylights out of us. They're keeping us at home. We can't talk to people outside of our homes because when we do, if we see them, we got masks on, so we can't have long conversations with us. Do you think that any of this was a conspiracy theory to keep us isolated, to keep us on social programs, to isolate us, to make us more of a socialized America? Do you think any of this is a conspiracy theory over and above the actual COVID-19 virus? Do you think it's a conspiracy theory at all to control the American population?
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think so. If I had to, sometimes I think it's political. Sometimes I think they want the president to look bad or something, or make it look the elections coming up. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I think the president, myself personally, he's doing the best he can under the situation he was put under. But I'm not a. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't know, Dave. I really don't. But
Yep.
I think it's blown out of proportion. That's all.
Yep. Sometimes I think that the amount of attempted control of the world population has started because I think that COVID, it seems to me like just enough people died of COVID-19 to make people worry. If many more people had died, say instead of 100,000 in the United States died, say 2 million died, there'd be such a mass panic that all of the extra leverage that the liberals or Democrats have gathered from this would be less effective because they would not be able to control the overwhelming panic of 2 million people having died versus the level of controlled panic that they've got because only 100,000 people have died. So sometimes I think it's control, and sometimes I worry if there's a COVID-19 vaccine out there. We've seen it in science fiction programs. And people beat me up. They say, "Dave, science fiction is science fiction." Don't you realize the word fiction is part of something that's fabricated? But science fiction sometimes can come into play, and there's been books written about control of humanity with vaccines, where there's a vaccine that's supposed to cure the condition that it's out there for, but embedded in the vaccine is something that controls it, either makes you more submissive or it gives control of you based upon the vaccine. So the vaccine's not as pure as we think. There's stuff in it that helps to control the person that received the vaccine. You're not a conspiracy type of person, so you don't really have fear of a COVID-19 vaccine that comes out based upon that I just talked about. So you don't really think that that's the case.
Would you get a shot? Would you get a flu shot?
I've never gotten a flu shot, and I will not get a COVID-19 shot. I've never taken a flu shot at all. Never.
No, they can't make that mandatory, can they?
I've heard that they want to. Well, government can attempt to do anything. You can attempt to sue anyone that you want to. Now, whether you'll win or not is another case, but you can attempt to sue anyone and you want to. The government can attempt to do anything that they want to, And it's just if it gets put into law, if it passes, if it gets signed. So they can attempt to make it. I've heard that some people want to make vaccines mandatory. They want to do it. Whether it gets passed or not, gun control is another one. Some people want gun control, whether it passes or not. And sometimes you can think about gun control related to this COVID-19 because there's more and more people getting more and more violent, more and more worried, see people going into, I think there was a situation where someone went into Walmart, 2 people were fighting in Walmart. I don't remember if someone pulled a gun out, but if you're in Arizona, it's pretty easy to get a gun in Arizona and walk around with a gun. The first time I moved to Arizona, I saw someone going into a coffee shop carrying a gun, and the guy happened to work in the shop. He was the guy that was mixing up the coffees, and it kind of shocked me to see someone walking in the street out of his car coming into a public place with a firearm next to him, very, very clearly demonstrated. It kind of threw me off a bit. So now if you get this in Arizona, 2 people going into a store with a firearm and then killing each other or killing other people in the crossfire, then there's going to be an attempt to create gun control as well. So another means of controlling the human population with a vaccine, with gun control, with trying to create fear by wearing masks and making sure that everyone on a daily basis is exposed to fear and being scared. It seems to me like it could be a manipulation of humans to be more and more controlled by people that want more and more control of us, which is world governments. It seems like it could be, in my thinking process, it could be. What do you think?
No, I don't know. I just called in to tell you that I agree. Most of the people that have pre-existing conditions they bring it on themselves from bad habits, bad eating in the United States, and I believe this COVID-19 is blown out of proportion, and I'm trying to live my life as normal as I can, except for the fact that there are certain things now that I can't and can do. But I can't wait for it to get back to normal. I'm sick and tired of all this chaos, stupid mess.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, you just can't snap your fingers and tomorrow will be okay. But I wish that's how it was, because as soon as everything's done, I'm going to continue what I've been doing and go on vacation and do this and do that. It was just blown out of proportion. And I'm irritated about it already, you know. But the point is, I still work, and I agree, you know, I'm fine. I think it's just how people fight, you know, your body, your immune system, and you know, just depends on who you are.
Yep.
I mean, I wish everybody the best, but I want this to be over with. And that's all. I just called I knew you were on, so I flicked my YouTube on and listened to you. But I agree with you. I didn't call in to argue. I called to agree with you this time.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to clap my hands. I'm going to say thanks for the great call. Thanks so much for the call, okay?
All
right, have a great Sunday, and have a great tomorrow, Memorial Day. Have a great Memorial Day as well, okay?
You too, Dave.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, now, by the way, I don't expect everyone to call me. In fact, I expect a very minimum amount of people to either call me or chat and agree with me at all. This is a topic that I'm very unpopular for doing. I wish I could go back to doing just my music show and not have any feelings, any desire to talk about topical items, but there's been a topical item, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because I happen to be 61 now. I don't have any pre-existing conditions that I know of. I don't go for my yearly physicals like I should and could do, because on my health plan I go every year and I could check myself out. I just think that my body, because of the amount of fitness and the best eating that I do, I feel like my body is in great shape. Sometimes I feel if you go to the doctor and they tell you something's wrong, the mind controls the body, and your body will be dragged down because your mind was told by something from the doctor. And I'll give you an example of that. I'll give you a definite example of that. For you guys that know, I recently adopted a dog, Willie. About 6 weeks ago, our dog stopped eating for one day. The second day, he started eating a little bit. But I was stunned enough after the first day and the second day to make an appointment at the vet, all right? And what I'm telling you is mind over matter. Here we go. How you can be manipulated or told something and it can make your personality think of the worst scenario, all right? Here we go. So I took Willie to the vet, and I took him, the one day he wasn't eating at all. Second day he was eating a little. Third day he was eating a little more, but that's the day I had the vet appointment. I brought him in for the vet appointment, and they gave him I guess it was actually the second day. First day wasn't eating at all. Second day he was eating a little bit. That day is the day I had the vet appointment. I got the vet appointment pretty quickly, the day after the day he didn't eat at all. Brought him in, had a blood test. 3 days go by before I get the results, because I think that was a Thursday, Friday, and didn't get the results Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's 4 days after I got the results of the test that was taken 4 days earlier. On the day when he started eating a little bit, I got a call from the vet. Vet tells me, he says, the blood work came back great except for one anomaly. A significantly horrible, bad anomaly, a tragic anomaly in his liver readings called an ALT liver enzyme reading. It was like off the chart. He told me, that vet told me, he said, you know what, you got to bring him for an ultrasound to see what is wrong with his liver, to see if there's something we can see in an ultrasound. Then we may have to take a biopsy of the liver, go in there with a needle, take a sample of the liver, and send it for test. If the ultrasound is inconclusive, we got to go beyond that. Got to go beyond that day, because his liver enzymes are such a crazy, horrible, tragic, critical level that we got to worry about it, David. And here I am telling him, I said, we just lost our dog Kim about 7 or 8 months ago, because she died in July. It's coming up on 1 year that she died. And we've got our brand new dog Willie. You're telling me he's got a critical condition where now he needs an ultrasound. He may need a biopsy. I'm scared. I'm panicked. I got on YouTube and I talked about it. The level of panic I had. What happened is, after we got the reading, I made an appointment for his ultrasound 3 days later. So another 3 days would have gone by. Now, when we got the result on Monday, he was eating a little bit better. By the time Tuesday rolled along and Wednesday rolled along, he was eating pretty well. He was swimming. He was playing again. He seemed a lot better. So I canceled the ultrasound. And to backtrack a bit, the day I got the reading of the blood sample from the vet, I called him back after he gave me the reading, and it scared the hell out of me. And I didn't even think to ask him this, but after about 15 minutes, my mind calmed down. And I called the vet back and I said, should I change his diet? Should I put him on any supplements? Vet told me, no, don't do anything different. We're just going to do the ultrasound 3 days later. So I thought, okay. So then I got on the internet. I started Googling what people should do for liver to make their stresses on their liver a lot less. And they told me the things to feed the dog or a human for the most part, probably the same with humans, is potatoes, sweet potatoes, white fish, and was something else. What was it? Something else. Oh yeah, some green vegetables. And what's called milk thistle and SAMe, capital S, capital A, capital M-E, small e. You do this, and the vet never told me that. I called up the rescue we got him from, and they told me, they said, yeah, do this. Well, I can't believe the vet didn't tell you that. So I went through that whole scenario, what I told you about the vet, to tell you that a doctor can scare the living daylights out of you. Because here I'm thinking our dog's going to die. Because I had that bad experience of Kim having died of esophagus cancer. And here I am, I got the result of a ALT level enzyme in the liver to be traumatically bad, dangerously bad, critically bad. And I found out after going back to the new place we started walking them in just a couple days earlier, that they actually spread fertilizer on the lawn. They didn't put any markings on the grass because it's a place that's usually not trampled on by dogs. We happen to find this place near a government office with a big enough, there's even ducks there. There's a little stream there, or pond rather. Little pond there with ducks that were just born. And I found it's a pretty big area. It's got a grassy area. We're throwing a ball. And Willie likes to eat grass once in a while. He probably ate some of that stuff and screwed up his liver, because the liver is the filter to the rest of the body. The liver absorbs the damage before the rest of the body hits that level of criticality. So the liver takes the brunt of the punishment to filter out, store the poison so it doesn't get in the rest of the body, and it takes the punishment. That's what happens. So I even canceled the ultrasound because Willie now, as soon as the show's over, I got to swim with him in the pool because he's going nuts. So bottom line is, that's why I don't really go to the doctor, because I don't really trust doctors. I trust my body more than I trust the doctors. So how did I get on that long thing? I got on that long thing because I said that trust your own body. Trust what you can do to your body to make it better. Now, if you're someone that's got a pre-existing condition, and say you're someone that smokes, and I described the person at that casino today that I saw in a wheelchair, 70 years old, he's probably 50. It looks like he's fucking 70 because he's wrecked his health. He's there in a casino with a bunch of other people. 70% of them weren't wearing masks, which was a surprise to me. 70% of them weren't. They're in a casino, which is a major gathering area. They didn't really follow social distancing, to be honest with you. They're walking. They're mandated to follow social distancing when they're at the slot machine, because they have the slot machine, piece of plexiglass, next slot machine, or slot machine, blank, slot machine, blank, slot machine. So they did that by scattering where the people would sit and congregate around the slot machines. And then with the poker tables and all that, there were a limited amount of people. There, instead of being 6 or 7 spots at a blackjack table, there were 3. So the distances were there, and I think they actually had plexiglass between themselves and the dealer, so they had that level of safety there. But the guy was there smoking. So bottom line is, if you've got a pre-existing condition, which is smoking, whether you have lung cancer or not, you've developed a pre-existing condition by smoking, maybe you better stop smoking, because your pre-existing condition makes you more vulnerable to COVID-19, maybe next year COVID-20, maybe the next year COVID-21, maybe the next year COVID-19. And maybe you better start worrying now and get to a better level of fitness, eat better like I do, work out a bit. Maybe you can't bust your ass like I do, but try to get to a better degree of health. Don't drink this beer unless you've worked out, which is what I want. This beer is going to sit there. It's going to sit in the refrigerator tonight because I didn't exercise today. Sunday night, I take off Sunday nights. I feel like after the program here, I'm going to swim in the pool. After that, I might pump some weights afterwards. I don't know. I might do it because I feel lazy if I don't. I feel like I've neglected my lack of pre-existing conditions by skipping a day. I haven't even skipped a day in about 12 days. Tonight, I might skip a day. I might. If I skip a day, or I probably won't do triple my routine tonight, for sure I won't do triple. I may do my regular routine. I may try to double it up like I've been doing. I won't triple it. So until I triple my fitness routine tomorrow or the day after, this beer sits in the refrigerator. I'm not drinking it. I'm not drinking it because this is my reward, which is only a 6-pack, which will probably take me about a month to finish, because I won't drink it until I've tripled up my workout routine, which is going to give me, I'm not going to be entitled to drink this beer. I'm going to have earned the right to drink this beer, because I don't like the word entitlement. See if anyone said anything, because I'm going to hang up pretty soon because I got to swim in the pool with the dog. Gene Stone, not going to lie, Dave, you looked like a pale, fragile old man in your selfie the other day. All right, so what? So what? Whatever, I probably worked out. In the selfie I took in front of the mirror, I had a, what I look like is irrelevant. What I feel like is better than what I look like. So what I look like, I don't really care what I look like. I don't really care what I look like now. I'm giving you statistics of fatalities. I've given you the statistics of the total world population versus the amount of people that died of COVID-19 within the world. And I gave you that percentage of 0.04%. I can't read it because it's getting darker now. And I gave you the U.S. population of 328 million people versus 100,000 people that have died of COVID-19. 73% of them, which is 73,000 of those people, had pre-existing conditions. 27%, or 27,000 people that died of COVID-19, did not have pre-existing conditions. And I told you, if we take the 100,000 people versus the 328 million people who live in the United States, the percentage of people that have died of COVID-19 is 0.031%. If I take the amount of people that did not have pre-existing conditions but died of COVID-19, that 27% of the 100,000 people of 27,000 people, that would be 0.01% of the population that did not have pre-existing conditions died. 0.01%, such a small fraction, a large number, but a small fraction. People don't like statistics. And they proved it by being hostile and angry at me. for pointing out the statistics. Whether you like statistics, whether you like me, whether you like my true reality show instead of the bullshit you hear on TV, then you don't like me, then probably you won't listen to me ever again, or you'll listen to me so you can critique me. That's all I got for tonight. I'm going to swim at the pool and get my level of physical activity up to some degree today so I feel good tomorrow when I wake up. So I have a strong defense mechanism against COVID-19. That's me. How about you? What are you going to do? You're going to do nothing, or you're going to do something? You're going to do something to make your lives better, your immune system stronger, or you're just going to complain that the rest of the world around you has to stay sheltered, has to stay in place, has to wear a mask, has to stay away from you because you've neglected yourself. They haven't neglected themselves. You've neglected yourselves. Yet you put the responsibility on you that you have, and you have diverted it to others to take your responsibility out of your hands and make it their responsibility to keep you safe. That's what this is all about. You have damaged the world's population. You have damaged the father. You've damaged the son. You've damaged the grandchild. You've damaged the great-grandchild by making them all have to stay out of work, damage their financial stability, damage their future financial success by them having to stay away from you because you've neglected yourself with the pre-existing conditions that you brought on yourself. That's all I got. That's all I got. And the closing theme song on the Dave Darin Show. Cheers, guys.
Sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.